Imagine having everything in your hands, the best roster your team has ever put together, stars everywhere you look, and still knowing that if you don't win right now, it could mean the end of an entire era. That's exactly what's happening with John Harbaugh and the Ravens. This team is stronger than ever, but they're carrying the weight of years falling just short. And if the same story plays out again, you can bet big changes are coming, and the first to feel the heat might just be the coach who's been steering the ship all along. Stick with me until the end, because the situation is so serious that every game this season could decide the fate of Lamar, Harbaugh, and the whole Baltimore project built over the last few years. Everything's on the line, and we're about to break down how this now or never moment could totally reshape the future of the franchise. Check this out. The Ravens have put together what might be the strongest team since Lamar Jackson took over as the offense's heartbeat. They didn't just hope things would get better. They went out and grabbed some big pieces. The biggest one, DeAndre Hopkins, a receiver any quarterback would dream of having. Imagine Lamar, who's already electric running, throwing, and making plays, now having a target like that to throw to. It completely changes how opposing defenses have to plan against Baltimore. But it's not just the offense that got a boost. The defense, already tough, got even more dangerous. They brought in two experienced corners, Chidobe Awuzie and Jair Alexander, guys who know exactly how to shut down the best wide receivers in the league. That means opposing quarterbacks will have a much harder time finding openings. It's like the Ravens put brand new locks on every door of the field. What's really cool is they didn't just rely on veterans. They nailed their draft picks, bringing in two young stars full of promise. Malaki Starks, a speedy safety from Georgia, and Mike Green, a fierce pass rusher from Marshall. These guys aren't just here to learn. They're expected to make an impact right away. This shows just how hungry Baltimore is to dominate every part of the game, blending experience with youth. But with all these moves comes huge pressure, because it doesn't matter how stacked your team looks on paper if you keep falling short when it counts. And that's exactly where we head next. With this roster built, the Ravens have no more excuses. They either win now or face the heaviest pressure of the entire Lamar era. Now think about this. After all these moves the Ravens have made, can we really accept any excuse if they don't go deep this season? No way. This roster is tight, loaded with talent almost everywhere, and a quarterback at the peak of his career. No more talk about, oh, they needed a top receiver, or the secondary is weak. This time, Baltimore has armed themselves in a way that forces everyone to say, you've got to prove it on the field. The big thing is, even in other years when the team looked strong, something always went wrong in the playoffs. An injury, a bad offensive game, the defense wearing down late, and the outcome was the same. They got stopped short of the Super Bowl. That's why 2025 is a turning point. Either they break through that barrier or the talk about, this is a Ravens year, will start to lose real weight. And it's not just on the players. Everyone in Baltimore knows the moment to deliver is now. Fans are restless. The media is unforgiving. And even inside the locker room, the message has to be clear. It's not enough to look good on paper anymore. This team was built to win now, not 2 or 3 years down the road. If they fail again, the story is going to change, and it won't be pretty. That's why the Ravens' recent past weighs so heavily. They've had strong teams and brilliant regular seasons, yet couldn't turn it into a Super Bowl run. And that history feeds into our next point. Every January, it feels like old ghosts come back to haunt Baltimore. Since Lamar Jackson became the starter in 2018, Ravens fans have been living a mix of dreams and frustration. Dreaming because the team is insanely good and puts on a show almost every week. But frustrated because when it comes time to prove it in the playoffs, the team keeps stumbling. It's a tough story that's repeated itself over and over, leaving that bitter feeling of, we were this close. The problem with stacking up those disappointments is they start to become part of the team's identity. Fans suffer, players carry extra pressure, and even opponents get confident knowing Baltimore has this history of cracking when it counts most. It's like that recent pass keeps banging in everyone's head. Will it finally happen this time? And that can become a heavy psychological burden when playoff time arrives. But this current roster can't afford to look in the rearview mirror. They need to make their own story. turn the page for good, and prove they learn from past falls. Because deep down, the NFL doesn't forgive those who stay stuck in the past. If Baltimore doesn't break that stigma soon, they'll stay trapped in a cycle of high expectations and painful losses. And if that happens, there's no doubt the next one under the spotlight will be head coach John Harbaugh. That's where things get even more serious, because his job starts shaking for real if this pattern of playoff exits keeps going.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Let's be real. John Harbaugh is one of the most respected coaches in the league, a Super Bowl champ loved by fans and players alike. But football is all about results, and he knows that better than anyone. Even with the front office showing confidence by extending his contract, everyone understands that kind of trust doesn't last forever. There comes a point when patience runs out, no matter the history guy has with the team. Things get even more complicated because Harbaugh has been the architect of this entire Lamar Jackson era. He helped shape the offense to fit number 8's unique talents, switch coordinators, tweak schemes. So after all those bets, adjustments, and promises, if the team still can't reach the Super Bowl, the spotlight is going to fall on him first. That doesn't mean he's a bad coach. Far from it. But in the NFL, cycles end. When you have an MVP quarterback, one of the most complete rosters in the league, and you still can't lift the trophy, the narrative shifts. Maybe it's time for a fresh voice leading the team. And no matter how capable Harbaugh is, he could pay the price for not taking that final step. But that also brings a sense of urgency to the locker room. The players like him, trust him, and they know the coach's future depends on how they perform. So 2025 could be this entire group's last chance to prove they deserve to stick together, which leads us straight to our next point. The whole Ravens era's future hinges on what they do right now. The vibe in Baltimore this season is do or die, and it's about way more than just John Harbaugh. The whole project built around Lamar Jackson over the past few years might be hitting its limit. After so many failed attempts, the patience of the front office and the fans with this core is running dangerously thin. There's this feeling that the team needs to prove, once and for all, they can turn talent into a championship. What makes it even trickier is the heavy investment the Ravens have made to build this roster. They spared no expense giving Lamar a stronger offensive line, elite weapons, and a defense that mixes experience with promising youth. That kind of gamble can't last forever. The salary cap tightens, windows close, and teams that don't capitalize usually end up rebuilding, often having to part ways with key pieces along the way. That puts a huge emotional weight on the locker room. The players know this might be their last shot to keep this group together and fight for something big. The 2025 season isn't just about chasing a Super Bowl. It's about justifying everything that's been done so far, showing that the front office's choices paid off, and this roster really had what it takes to reach the top. It's playing with history on their shoulders, but also with a unique chance to leave a legacy. In the end, this whole story makes every single game feel like an early playoff final. Every win cements the project, while every loss brings back ghosts that could tear it all down. And that's why, when you look at this team, it's clear the fate of this Ravens era is being decided right now in every snap, every play, and every decision on the field. At the end of the day, there's no hiding it. This Ravens season is going to be a true trial by fire for everyone in Baltimore. The roster is strong, Lamar is at his peak, and Harbaugh knows patience isn't endless. If they finally break the cycle and make it to the Super Bowl, they'll cement this era as one of the franchise's most successful ever. But if the old story of disappointment repeats itself, fans should brace for deep changes that go far beyond just a coach. Now, I want to know, do you think this team has what it takes to take the next step and win it all, or will history end in frustration once again? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this could be the most decisive season the Ravens have ever faced.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go flock.